Darren here, and on today's episode of WotC Academy, we're going to be looking at the 46th installment of the Map Awareness series, but this time, instead of Flying Egg for like the fourth time, we are going to have another system of mine known as Pontiac Pat. I'm sure some of you are familiar with him as he tends to dive into the math of some of the concepts, and I have a couple videos where he is your guest star for the day. Now, I would like to mention right now, give a quick disclaimer here, that the first half, two-thirds of the game are going to be relatively your typical game, and unfortunately, we are using the replay system here, which, aside from being, just not that very good, is also going to kind of put us at the mercy of his camera work. Now, I hope that, again, that I'm the only one seeing the camera lag. Hopefully that's not the case for anyone else, but if you see it, I apologize. But I don't really want to spoil the surprise of what's going to happen from this game. But I'm sure my little hint of how, like, the first two-thirds of the game are a little bit boring, or your typical game, I'm sure some of you may be able to put two and two together. Now, while we just simply watch here, while we simply watch Pontiac Pat here play on Ghost Town, top tier in the Bog Horror, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Bog Horror and why we are using this particular replay. So, just to get this off out of the way here, we're using, again, another map awareness video, simply because hopefully this should be time. I have finally gotten word from Elgato that my replacement capture card, the last ditch effort that we're going to try to fix the issue, is going to be hopefully delivered between, I think it was this weekend and Wednesday of next week. I'm thinking Wednesday of next week if I remember correctly. So hopefully we'll be able to fix the issue and be back up and running. Otherwise, I guess I'm going to be investing heavily into a gaming laptop, and I can say there goes money for a while. But hey, gotta do what you gotta do. So anyway, moving on to the Bog Horror. Now, a lot of times when I see the Bog Horror or the mutant, as its non-skinned version is colloquially called, which of course, that's why the Bog Horror looks like a mutant now, playing on the name there. This vehicle is, if I recall correctly, I know the unskinned version is definitely a preferential matchmaking, and I believe the Bog Horror here as well is a preferential matchmaking vehicle. But for the life of me, I've never seen anyone use this vehicle with its preferential matchmaking. For some reason, everyone likes to platoon up and use these things, and they get thrown into a tier 10 game because they're not platooned up with, other preferential matchmaking tanks. They're just against regular tier 8 tanks or regular premium tier 8 tanks. And so they get thrown into tier 10 games, and then they just become tasty snacks for the tier 10s because, hey, you aren't supposed to be in this game. It's a little bit of a modern version of fail platooning, I guess you could argue, but, hey, if they want to try and make some extra silver, by all means, go at it. I do know that there are people that are able to pull off such a stunt and will make a boatload of money from it. So, anyway, getting on to what we are witnessing here. So far, we're witnessing a pretty close game where, unfortunately here, there's not much to really talk about, simply because of the fact that our replay system is horrible. We don't see the ribbons. We don't know how much damage is being dealt. We don't know where he's aiming, what he's aiming at, or what exactly he sees on the mini-map in real time, because everything likes to hide from you in the replay. And, of course, we got the annoying little buttons that are semi-grayed out in the middle of your screen. So it kind of sucks. But as we can see here, it's literally been neck and neck this entire time. Now, I would like to point out that the one mistake that Pontiac Pat is doing is running over trees that we just witnessed there. And you really don't want to do that, even if, even if really there's no one around you, there's Artie in the game. Artie was shooting at you last, and you are unspotted. His gun camera, or he may still be aiming in your general direction. Why would you want to give away roughly where you are? Don't do that. So, using a little bit of that lesson there, I'd like to point that out. It's a very good thing to be map aware that, Artie may be looking at you if you are unspotted and it is a close game like this. He's going to be scrutinizing for any form of movement or interaction with the environment to potentially give away your position if there's not enough tanks to spot you. Keep that in mind. It is very important for your survival and could mean the difference between you going back to the garage or you pulling off a clutch. So here we go. We kind of doing a buddy system here with the SU-130, and we are basically kind of defending the base, trying to defend Artie as well, but Artie got taken out by a T-28. So right now, you could kind of almost, the way he just reversed and kind of abandoned the SU-130 there, who now, like I said, with the replays, so magically appeared out of thin air right in front of you. He is now kind of using this corner to protect one of the main weaknesses of the mutant slash Bog Horror, and that would be the Cupola. Otherwise, it's a very large super Pershing as the closest comparison. So some of you may have potentially guessed already what is being set up here. Is it intentionally being set up? We don't know, but I'm sure some of you can guess, and it doesn't matter now at this point. It is a 1v5, and I'm sure by now the guess of what's going to happen is going to happen. There we go, Pontiac Pat, pretty much playing the ring around the rosy game here, around this this block of buildings here. Just snapshots the Rheinmetall Borsig Panzerwagen, and now we are in the game of just moving on and trying to find the next tank. Now, unfortunately, he's been pincer maneuvered by a Hellcat and a T-28. T-28 definitely is rolling up behind him to try and get a shot into his rear. Hellcat is putting another shot into him, but bounced off. T-28 put a round into him, took some damage off. Pontiac Pat took care of the Hellcat here, the shot, so now it is down to a 1v3, and now we have both tanks in front of him being down to one shots, but right now his main threats are going to be the enemy artillery and this T-28. He needs to make sure that the T-28 does not pen him, but otherwise the T-29 is basically, again, also a one-shot, so he just needs to avoid showing the T-29 his sides or allowing the T-29 to line up a solid hit on his cupola or any other viable weak spot. And otherwise, that T-29 is really no threat. But I don't want to give a false sense of security here for anyone watching. Any tank with hit points is still a threat to you. And that goes for Pontiac Pat in this particular situation. That goes for you if you are if you find yourself in a situation like that and like this, or just in game in general here. Do not discount the fact that any tank with hit points is still a gun in the game, and is still having the potential to take you out of the game. So if you see a tank that is a one-shot, go for him, get his gun out of the fight, and that is very important. Now, Pontiac Pat has disengaged from that fight because he cannot predict accurately where those two tanks are going to go, and it's really not a good idea to get caught into a pincer maneuver with a T-28 that he actually has to sit and aim with, and a T-29 who's going to obviously be more flexible than the T-28. Now, the T-28 was going after him. He gets spotted by the T-28, and now we're trying to play the game of ducking and weaving in order to avoid getting hit by artillery. So now what we're going to try and do is think. Our main intention right now is to see if we can roll up on the flank of the T-28 and take care of him. But again, we are in a city urban environment where there's multiple avenues to approach from. So instead of just rolling out and going into the middle square, we're going to kind of hang around here where we have some solid cover to protect our weak sides, and we're tall enough to aim over that cover, and we're just going to try and predict where the enemy is going to be. And lo and behold, the T-29 just rolls right past him, spotting him, but now Pontiac Pat is in a position where Artie is able to get a shot on him. T-29 is, we know where the T-29 is right now, and Pat is going to try and take care of him. And, of course, using that very nice frontal armor, we managed to block the shot a little bit. I believe I blocked the shot. I was not paying attention there, but we're now down to a sliver of health. So I'm going to take the assumption that we actually took the shot. So, yeah, and then we rammed the T-29 to death. And so now it is down to a 1v2. Artie has finally been spotted. We're kind of praying a little bit of time. Artie is also apparently a one-shot. Everything's a one-shot, apparently. Just in time to... we took care of the Artie just in time for the T-28 to just roll around the corner and get spotted. T-28 bounces or misses off Pontiac Pat, and now Pontiac Pat is just trying to get into a position where he's able to, put himself into a strong defensible position here, as well as bait the T-28 to get closer. Now, we're going to see here there is a bit of cover that we can definitely use, and that is going to be the T-29. So Pontiac Pat's going to set up here right around on the T-29, and we are predicting that the T-28 is going to, be around the corner, and lo and behold, there it is. We're a little bit of a corner fight here, and we're still trying to bait the T-28 to get closer. And as soon as he's committed into this street, we're going to pretty much use our height to our advantage and just aim down on the cupola and take care of him. And there we go. Kolobanov's medal secured. And, yeah, that was the surprise for this video. I honestly am not a fan of the replay system, but a Kolobanov's is a Kolobanov's, and it should be something, that is featured, because it's not everyone can pull these off consistently, or, when the opportunity arises, most of the time people choke. That's going to do it for today's video. I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. And until next time, this has been Darren of WotC Academy.